Hi, I'm Kieran from PRS Guitars Europe. I'm here in the PRS Guitars Europe warehouse, and today we are going to show you the setup process that every SE goes through before it goes out to one of our dealers. Let's head in the tech room and have a look. I'm here with one of our SE guitar techs, Ali Sloan. How you doing, Ali?
I'm really good, thanks.
Beautiful. So we got, what's this, Custom 24?
Custom 24 Dark Cherry Sunburst. And yeah, I'm just going to show you through what I do on every SE setup before it goes out.
So how long will you normally spend on a guitar?
It really ranges between sort of 5 to 15, 20 minutes. It really depends on how the guitar is from where it comes. It really does vary.
Well, let's see then. Right, so what's the first step?
First step is to check the volume pot, push-pull pot and the three-way toggle switch.
All the electronics seem to be working perfectly on this one.
Lovely.
Right, so once that's all good, what's next?
Next step, I move on to the fret edges. Now I'm just taking off the corner point, so it just takes away that sharpness. So this is all about feel and playability. I think we're probably one of the only companies that do it.
So you do this purely just to make sure the guitar feels as good as it can on the neck?
Yeah.
You're working at a bit of lightning pace at this moment, aren't you?
Yeah, I think that might be sped up a little bit, but it's not far off.
So once they're all smooth and lovely, what do you do next?
Next I'll move on to the front of the nut. Now this is again just for feel and playability, where for the open chords it feels nice in the hand. That's all it's for really.
So once that's done?
So I'll move on to the nut. Now the nut is quite an integral part of the setup. So we're not just cutting down to the right height, we're also widening the slot, so when we're tremming later on it's not sticking in the nut. So it's quite important. This doesn't really affect anything to do with the action, but also it's to do with feel, so for those low chords it feels correct in the hand, not too high.
So you're just doing a lot of things to make sure the guitar feels fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. After I'm happy that it's all done, I'll just get the file and just rub it over the top just to make sure it looks good as well.
Awesome.
Just to clear it up.
What's next?
Next step, we'll move on to the truss rod. But before I move on to the truss rod, I have to tune up the guitar.
Why do you tune it up now if there's still quite a few things to do?
Well, it's quite important the guitar's at the right tension for when you're checking the truss rod. So once it's in tune, you check the truss rod. I'm fretting right at the top and right at the bottom, and with my thumb I'm checking at the 7th fret the spacing, and that's where you're measuring the relief. And just wanting a gap just bigger than the small E.
Do you often have to adjust it?
Yeah, it's just a small tweak just to make them all perfect.
What's next? What are you doing here?
Next, the trem. Now on the trem it's quite difficult because you have 6 pivot screws and you have to line them up with the trem, and that has to be level. This is quite important.
Sounds a bit technical.
It is quite technical, and we wouldn't recommend that anyone does it unless they are a guitar technician, because you can damage a guitar doing this.
Would you say this is one of the more difficult parts of the setup?
I would, absolutely, yeah. The next, I'll move on to the action. The action, you want to have it, the bottom E just above 1.5 mil and the top E just below 1.5 mil. But everyone has a preference here at PRS, that's our factory spec.
So once that's done?
Once that's done, final tune, and then just check the fretwork.
As you can see, at PRS we spend a lot of time to make sure every guitar is as good as it can be. So if you've got an SE and you're happy with your setup, send us a tweet and let us know.
Cheers.
Thanks, Al.